Stocks wilt under global pressures and wariness over COVID spread ahead of the Christmas weekend. Utilities and metals take a pounding even as pharma and healthcare exhibit strength.
The Defence Acquisition Council clears capital purchases of 84,328 crores with over 82,000 crores marked for domestic supplies. The nod paves the way for large orders to defence vendors.
Stocks of pharmaceutical players are paid up in light of growing concerns over rising COVID cases globally that would require treatment even if not severe. Some like Granules and Biocon also have positive tidings.
Landmark Cars and Adani's holding take a drubbing on listing as investors turn cautious and valuations offer little comfort. This may also cloud sentiment for the new IPO offer by Radiant Cash Management.
Good afternoon. You're watching us here on Halftime Report. I'm Mangalam Malu. With me, Ekta Batra. We're looking at severe weakness in the market. And, this weakness continues from yesterday's trading session, from day before yesterday's trading session as well. In fact, now as we speak, from all-time highs, the Nifty is virtually corrected about 1,000 odd points. The all-time high of 18,877, we're at 17,893 odd. So the weakness has been led not only by the Nifty, it's been led lower by the Nifty Bank, which has been an underperformer. And in that, the breadth of the market really takes your breath away, so to say, in terms of weakness. Almost 2,500 stocks which are declining, for just about 200 stocks which are advancing, well over 10 stocks which are in the red. And that line has been parallel through the morning. Over the last few trading sessions, we'd see at least these lines dwindling or coming closer, etc. But no, this time around, it has been a flat-out opening for the bears itself. And they've really knocked the bulls out, so to say, ahead of the holiday season, Ekta.
Hi, Mangalam. Yes, absolutely. There is no Santa Claus rally to speak of at this point in time. On a year-to-date basis, we have the Nifty, which is down around 2%, the Sensex, which is lost around, or rather, it is on a week-to-date basis. And we have the mid-cap index, which is down around 4.8% as well at current reckoning. So definitely tough week which is coming in for the Indian markets, and not to mention that on a year-to-date basis, the mid-cap index is just about holding its head above the water. So let's see whether there's any sort of reprieve in the second half of the trading session. But let's talk about specific stocks. Ingersoll Rand is surging in trade. Vahishta is here to tell us why that particular stock is in focus. Vahishta.
Hi, Ingersoll Rand has been in focus today, and that is because there's a news coming in that they are going to be setting up a new manufacturing plant in Gujarat. This is to manufacture new range of air compressors, air treatment devices, hydrogen compressors, and many more. And this is to cater to the domestic as well as to the export markets, which includes the likes of Europe, Middle East, and in the African regions. Now, the existing capacity is at 10,000 units per month, and with a current capacity utilization of 100%. But with the proposed capacity addition, which will go up to 5,000 units per month initially, and by September 2024, the proposed capacity is expected to be added. The investment required is going to be 170 crores, which is to be financed through internal accruals.
All right, Vaishta, thanks a lot for that. So that's about Ingersoll Rand. That's one of the few stocks, like we said, just 200 stocks advancing on the NSE. So that's one of the few stocks which is doing well. In fact, as we speak, at the high point of trade as well. Sonia joins in now with some data on SBI Card's November business update. Sonia, are people spending more?
They are spending more, and they're getting more credit cards as well. So SBI Card is a big beneficiary of that, and hence, the stock, of course, today it's down 1.5% because the market is under pressure. But the company has gained market share after seeing record additions in terms of credit cards in the month of November. So the highest additions have come through at 3.88 lakhs. If you compare it to a 12-month average, which was 2 lakhs, it's much higher. It's also higher than the credit card additions in October, which stood at about 3.4 lakhs. Now, if you look at it, the market share of SBI Cards has also risen. So it's gained about 17 basis points month on month, but it's been a consistent rise over the last 6 months. And now SBI Cards is sitting at enjoys almost 19.5% of the market. Morgan Stanley put out a note where they have a very aggressive target price on SBI Card. They have a target of 1,100. They say that the company continues to gain market share in the cards business, and not only adding more credit cards, they are also seeing higher spends per card, and that is something that will eventually aid their operational performance as well.
Okay, well, Sonia, you're also watching Landmark Cars.
Yes, it's had a disappointing debut, Landmark Cars. So the stock listed at a discount of almost 7% at 471 rupees. It's even lower now at 457. The issue price, remember, was 506 rupees a share. Now, the business is quite decent if you look at it. The IPO was subscribed well. In fact, if you look at it, it's a leading premium automotive dealership in India. It's a #1 dealer in India for Mercedes, Honda and Jeep. And it has a network of 112 outlets, 59 sales showrooms. It also has a commercial vehicle dealership. So the dealership business has been doing well over the last many years. It does not only sales of new vehicles, but it provides after-sales services, sales of pre-owned passenger vehicles, and a couple of positives of the company. It turned profitable in FY21. The sales, the revenues, if you look at it, have seen a compounded growth of almost 16% over FY20 to 22, and the margin profile has also improved. It's now sitting at about 6% margins compared to just 3% in FY20. Some of the negatives, which perhaps is one of the reasons why the stock is under pressure. One is that a large portion of the business is concentrated in 2 states, which is Gujarat and Maharashtra. So diversification perhaps is the need of the hour, or geographic expansion. They're also seeing increased competition from dealers and unauthorized service centers. The margins earned from the services as well as the repair vertical is something that could be impacted by some pricing guidelines that have been set by OEMs. And in terms of valuations as well, there's no great upside because the stock is trading at 28 times PE as of FY22. It has no comparable listed peer, so we can't compare it. But still, at 28 times, most brokerages believe that it is highly valued, and hence the stock is under pressure. ICICI Securities recently put out a note where they said that this business of auto dealerships is growing at a very fast pace. In fact, as per CRISIL's research, the premium segment of passenger vehicles is expected to grow at a compounded rate of 10 to 12% over FY22 to 27, while the luxury segment is expected to grow at 14 to 16% compounded. So yes, growth prospects are there, but there's no valuation headroom, and hence the stock is under pressure.
All right, Sonia, thanks a lot for that. That explains why Landmark is down almost 9.5%. No valuation comfort coming in despite growth opportunities being there. In fact, we spoke with the management this morning as well, and they said that, it's the after-sales maintenance, repair sort of services business which is growing at a 20% compounding for them, and that is a business which has about 40% margin. So how that grows also is something that we will monitor. But let's step into a short break. On the other side, we'll be joined by Nithya Balasubramanian of Stanford Bernstein for an outlook on the pharmaceutical sector, because that is the only sector which is doing well today.
आज तबीयत ठीक नहीं लग रही, तुम ही सब काम निपटा दो ना। अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी MDF का लो एमिशन प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, हायर डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी है, यानी ये है जहाँ नो टेंशन वहाँ।
Low emission premium plus by Century ProWood.
Once an investor has assessed their financial goals, timeframes, and risk appetite, the next step is to formulate a sound financial plan. It is important for investors to understand features of the financial products and whether they suit them, their investment philosophy, and risk profile. Smart investors do not base their financial decisions on tips, rumors, hearsay from neighbors, acquaintances, friends, or anyone who has anything to say. They do their own research or take advice from qualified and credible financial advisors. Always remember, it is important to choose the right financial products to meet your specific financial goals.
NSE द्वारा निवेशकों के हित में जारी।
Everyone looks at the world today. At Hyundai, we go beyond with experiences that take us forward. Inspired by our today, we design your tomorrow. Some said electric is the future. We said, why stop there? At Hyundai, we are going beyond mobility, and you are welcome to join us.
क्या हुआ? ट्रेडिंग करनी है, बट कैसे करूं, कहां करूं, कुछ समझ नहीं आ रहा है।
बहुत सिंपल है, बस तू ना Pranto को तो मार्सितानो सिल्वलाची कुरफराते फराचो मकीजो मकपूजो कंपाउंडर निस्तो बुलियो बुरियानो stokizo marketisto. Simple.
Trading sounds like a foreign language. Trade easily with easy options. Simple order placement, bye confusion. करो तो ICICI Direct करो. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again. And again. And again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time and say, I'm not done.
जिंदगी को दें रफ्तार, शुरू करें इसी त्योहार, खुशियों का सफर बिताएं साथ मिलकर। त्योहार तभी हो जब अपने साथ हो। SBI के संग इस त्योहार छोटी किश्त से बड़ी खुशियां ले आएं। SBI, the banker to every Indian.
Welcome back. Well, it's definitely cautious trade. We have the mid-cap index, which is down around 2.7% at this point in time. Just want to point out that the entire Nifty PSU Bank index is also seeing quite a decline. And why this stands out is that because it is one of the best index movers this year, it's up around 55%. But this week itself, at current reckoning, it's lost around 9% in today's trading session. That particular index is down around 4.5%. But remember that it is a lot about COVID-19 and basically a lot of stocks which are in focus on account of that. So I just want to recap, and we did this last evening as well, just want to recap that there are a couple of COVID-19 related stocks as of now, which in the past had come up. Now, for example, Wockhardt, because they did have the contract with regards to the supplies of AstraZeneca's COVID vaccine to the UK government. We do have vaccine-related stocks which continue to be in focus. For example, Dr. Reddy's, Zydus Life, Biocon. Biocon has a tie-up with Serum eventually in terms of the vaccine portfolio, and COVID was expected to be a part of that. Pfizer on hopes of maybe their vaccine eventually coming to India. Separately, Divi's Labs, remember they are the supplier of the Molnupiravir API, so that stock continues to be in focus on account of that. Cipla and Zydus Life, because they had one of the largest portfolio of COVID-19 related drugs in India at the height of COVID-19. COVID-19 drug-related stocks again include the likes of Gland Pharma as well as Alembic. Alembic because they simply manufacture, they were one of the largest manufacturers of azithromycin, the antibiotic, which had seen a huge volume spurt, and that's the simple reason why that particular stock could be in focus. Diagnostic stocks, we've been pointing out ad nauseum through the week, Dr. Lal's, Thyrocare, Metropolis. And I just want to point out that a lot of these companies already saw dwindling opportunities from COVID-19. Divi's Labs saw a slowdown with regards to COVID-19 related projects. Wockhardt's UK revenue had fallen quite considerably. Cipla, their demand was negligible by the end of it. And we had Gland Pharma as well, which saw an absence of COVID-related drugs in Q2, which impacted their sales. It was down around 3% odd. Diagnostic stocks, COVID-19 testing fell anywhere between 80 to even 97% on a year-on-year basis. Experts say we are much more resilient this time. We have hybrid immunity, and there is a large amount of the adult population which has already been vaccinated. But let's see how things eventually play out in this particular current wave. We have Nithya Balasubramaniam, who is the director at Sanford Bernstein, joining in. Nithya, hi, welcome to the show. Well, you look at a whole host of different things when it comes to pharmaceuticals and healthcare. I'm sure you've been reading a lot of data with regards to COVID-19, so I want to start that conversation with this topic. Do you think that it's going to be a concern and maybe an opportunity for pharma health companies this time?
Honestly, Ekta, it's way too soon to say. I have seen no data. I have not been able to grab my hands on any reliable data either from China or from elsewhere, right? So what we're picking up now is more anecdotal evidence, and I wouldn't jump just based on anecdotal evidence. It does seem to be picking up steam. Unfortunately, the number of cases do seem to be on the rise in China. But remember, China is a very different economy. Vaccination coverage is much lower than India, even the infection rate, and therefore I would assume the infection conferred immunity in the China population is possibly less than what we have in the Indian population. So I won't jump right now.
Well, couldn't agree more. There is a lot of anecdotal data, but Nitya, the collective intelligence of the street believes that there may be something to it, and I say that purely on account of the way these stocks are moving. Do you think they too are, moving ahead of what actually the reality is and what the expectations are of the way this is going? I mean, is it just trading activity because it's the year-end, low volumes, etc., or there could be some case at some point?
That's my read as well. I think everybody is just assuming that there might be something to it. But I think before we see some data, I wouldn't read too much into what is actually right now only anecdotal evidence.
Okay. But do you think companies such as Divi's, which did see those windfall gains at one point in time because of the molnupiravir API opportunity, do you think that kind of heady return or those kind of heady gains could come back? Or are we talking about a more subdued scenario?
I would assume more subdued, right? And China, of course, is a different geography and infection rates could be high, but China as an opportunity was never really available for our Indian generic players. So what you're essentially talking about is whatever they could possibly sell in India if cases are on the rise. And we also have licenses, companies like Cipla, Dr. Reddy's, etc., also have license to sell in various emerging markets. Right? So that's the opportunity set we're talking about. For Divi's, of course, given that they're supporting Divi's and I think Loris as well, given that they're supporting some key starting materials for some oral tablets, maybe the opportunity size is a little larger, but definitely lesser than what we possibly saw in FY22.
Right. And, in that case, then, among all the other pharmaceutical stocks which are buzzing around on hopes that there could be some more business coming their way, etc., just the way it did back in 2020, the first wave and the second wave in 2021, is there any stock in particular or any company in particular where fundamentals are turning around and, that is something one should look at as against, look at to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to say?
No, I agree with you. I think for us, our top picks are actually Sun, Cipla, and we like Gland as well. We think Sun is actually moving away from the pack given their exposure to US specialty, which seems to be doing well, and we think there continues to be runway. Cipla, again, is moving away from the pack because of their complex generics pipeline in the US. We do see several material opportunities likely to play out in the next couple of years. Gland has corrected quite a bit. We think the market is right now unwilling to appreciate the resilience in the business model. While the injectables market is becoming more and more competitive, their B2B business actually affords them a few luxuries, slightly lesser price erosion, their ability to grow the base, which is not now appreciated by the market. So we like these three names, and we think structurally, the story is actually very different from what we have seen in the last 10 years for these names.
It's interesting, Nitya, that you brought up Sun Pharma because one of the key concerns has been the import alert on Halol. No one was really expecting that, and it's been a tough year when it comes to Indian pharmaceuticals and the US FDA. But in particular for Sun Pharma, do you think that the import alert could really be a spanner in the works?
Yeah, I think if you actually look at earnings and the earnings growth trajectory, I don't think the Halol import alert, or now that it's been de-escalated to a warning letter, I don't think it'll have a meaningful impact on earnings growth. Because for Sun, over a period of time, I think the US generics part of the business, ex-Taro, of course, keeping Taro aside, it has actually become a much smaller part of what they do. And even if you look at where they're investing, where the management bandwidth is going, capital allocation, etc., a lot of it is actually going towards specialty, which is what is driving the stock and what is the controversy on the name, right? Possibly the reason why the stock actually didn't correct much on the day that the import alert came through. It actually corrected 3.5%, if I'm not wrong. So earnings impact, I think, is minimal, which is why the stock has been resilient. But that being said, it is concerning that one of the largest pharmaceutical companies, one of the largest in terms of market cap as well, ended up getting an import alert from the FDA. I'm sure they're trying to address and trying to do everything that they can to make sure that this eventually becomes compliant. Towards that end, the de-escalation obviously is a positive signal.
Do you track the diagnostics space, Nitya? Your thoughts on that? I mean, the last couple of days they've been a buzz again for the same reason that you and I just spoke about. But apart from that, after the correction that we've seen, almost 40-50% from the start of this year, does it make a case to look at all these diagnostic companies for all the non-COVID businesses that they do?
I'm so sorry, I don't really cover any of these names, so I won't be able to give you any specific comments. But I think just like Divi's or Laurus or a lot of other companies, they did have a lot of COVID in the base. So I think some of the correction was obviously warranted. Beyond that, I think when I look at it more from an industry perspective, I do believe there is still significant underpenetration when it comes to diagnostics. Diagnostics is even more underpenetrated than pharma, right? So even if you believe that there is growth runway, even up to the tier 4 or the tier 5 towns that pharma has already penetrated into, there is still a meaningful growth runway left for these teams.
Okay, all right, Nitya, we're going to wrap it up on that note. Always a pleasure hearing your views. Thank you very much for joining in and wish you a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year as well. Thanks very much for taking the time out.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Need to take a short break, but on the other side, we will be talking to the management of Wonderla Holidays. Join in for a business momentum check. Stay tuned.
देश का हर अरमान पूरा करे एक नाम श्री राम लाना ले जाना बेचना खरीदना कमाना बचाना सलाह पाना जोधपुर तिरुपुर एग्दूर गोवा पटना दिल्ली हावड़ा श्री राम के साथ आगे बढ़ना श्री राम फाइनेंस लिमिटेड आपकी प्रगति का साथी
कंस्ट्रक्शन बहुत तगड़ा है। क्या भाई साहब, जो साइट विजिट ना दिखाए 99 एकर्स बताए। घर लेना हो या बेचना, एक्सपर्ट से ही पूछना। 99acres.com।
यार अजय, look at your dad. Will we be the same at his age?
Absolutely yes, if we plan our future like him.
How?
My father had invested in LIC's Jeevan Akshay, which gives immediate and guaranteed annuity at regular intervals, that too for life.
Wow. But do we have to wait until his age?
Absolutely not. We recently invested in LIC's new Jeevan Shanti, which gives deferred annuity, which means regular income after some years.
I see.
LIC.
LIC's annuity plans give 10 annuity options and flexibility in receiving regular income. LIC, हर पल आपके साथ.
क्या हुआ चैंपियन?
दिन रात प्रैक्टिस करनी पड़ती है। यहाँ तो रात को स्टेडियम ही बंद हो जाता है।
एक काम करो ना, चेन छोड़ छोड़ के लगाना।
पापा?
अब करो दिन रात प्रैक्टिस, चैंपियन।
एक्स्ट्रा सेफ पॉलीकैप ग्रीन वायर आपके सपनों को रखे सेफ।
Retail investors should develop the habit of examining and reviewing their transactions and trading accounts on a periodic basis. Make sure there are no surplus funds lying idle in your account. It is also advisable to insist on regular settlement of your trading account. Smart investors opt for a monthly or quarterly settlement to keep track of both funds and securities. If you notice any discrepancy or error, you need to immediately bring it to the notice of your broker and get satisfactory response within reasonable time. For unresolved issues, contact your nearest NSE Investor Service Cell for assistance.
NSE द्वारा निवेशकों के हित में जारी।
झाके रे झाके झरोके से झाके, देख के दंग है छोटे बड़े सारे। झाके रे झाके फ्यूचर को ये ताके, तरक्की को टुक टुक हर कोई ताके। झाके रे झाके।
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
Welcome back. The sell-off in the market has intensified, at least in the mid-cap end of things. Arvind Fashions from the broader markets at the low point of trade And giving it company is GE Shipping. GE Shipping from the start of this year is up 117 odd %. So it's understandable that, some profit has been taken off the table out there. Similar is the case for something like a JK Paper as well. JK Paper is down around 8% with volumes piling up on that one. From the start of this year, that stock up 86% as well. So some profits being taken off that one too. And talking about profits being taken off, Wonderla Holidays is the other one, which is down about 17% this month after rallying over 50-60% this year itself. We do have with us Arun Chitirapalli. Arun, thank you so much for joining in. Just wanted to understand, how the sentiment is currently in the last week of the year. Usually, typically pre-COVID, what are the kind of footfalls and spends per head that you would see in December? And how are you, expecting this December to be for you? I mean, just the last part.
It's looking pretty good. I mean, in terms of demand, we are actually, our parks are continue to run full for this third quarter as well. So far, the third quarter has been extremely encouraging, and we don't see any change in business for our third quarter, remainder of third quarter. It's just 2 more weeks left, not even. So yeah, it's looking pretty good, and any kind of inclement weather notwithstanding, I think we should close this quarter also pretty strong.
Okay, so can you share some numbers in terms of, say, occupancy as well as footfalls?
So if you look at our Q2 and the Q1 numbers, we have done almost 1.5, 1.6 of X of pre-COVID numbers. And I think we are on track to do something similar for Q3 in terms of footfalls and occupancy. So that's where we are at. I think for the resort, we're looking at almost 77 to 80% occupancy, and the footfalls at the park have also been pretty strong. But having said that, last December we had a threat of the Omicron wave, and so we didn't see full demand. But this year, I think we are going to see pretty strong demand for the holiday season.
Could you compare that to say, now let's go back to 2019 December and give us a sense in terms of how business is?
Like I said, it should be, it should be much stronger than that. And we hope that we will end this quarter pretty strong. Exact numbers, I mean, we don't know. We can't give I can't predict, but I'm pretty sure that we will do much better than what we did pre-COVID, yes.
Okay, let's talk about average revenues per person who comes by, because, pre-COVID, that number was hovering around that 1100 odd mark. Just wanted to understand, because now that footfalls are about 30 to 40% higher than pre-COVID levels, you expect that to continue. In the meanwhile, you've taken a lot of price hikes, etc. as well. So average spends first half of this year were close to around 1300. Are we expecting them to inch to say 1500, 1600 in the third quarter?
So our average ARPU has gone up significantly in the last 2 quarters, as you already know. We will maintain the same ARPU because we've not taken any further price hikes. Now the price hikes we are planning to take only beginning of next financial year, which is sometime in March, April. So we will continue the same ARPU what we've showcased in the last 2 quarters, maybe even slightly better.
What is the extent of a price hike? Can you just give us a sense in terms of how much you've already taken this year and how much are you probably anticipating?
So compared to our pre-COVID pricing, we are almost 20 to 25% higher compared to pre-COVID pricing. So that's how we have reached an ARPU of about 1200 to 1300. So that's the kind of ARPU that we can expect for this quarter as well.
Is it too soon to worry about all the anecdotal evidence that one is getting about, increased fears of COVID, etc.? We're getting pictures of people wearing masks and all of that.
No, I don't think that's I don't think that's affecting us yet, and I don't see why that should affect us, because I think India doesn't have the same issues that China has when it comes to COVID. I think our population has been extremely well vaccinated thanks to the efforts of the government, and I think our vaccine also is pretty strong compared to what China is using. The efficacy of the vaccine itself is much stronger, so I don't see that creating an issue for us, unless there is some other new variant that we need to be worried about. And I don't see the WHO also talking about anything very fundamentally different from what we've heard so far. So I don't think we need to worry so much. That's my personal view, but yeah.
But the numbers are not indicating that. The reason I ask, and it's just adding to what Mangalam said, Arun, is that a lot of the hospital companies are noticing that people are increasing their booster shot intake in the past 2 weeks. So maybe if in case there's any kind of deviation in terms of numbers that you were expecting, will probably start showing or have shown in the last 2 weeks and will start showing soon. As of now, there's no change.
Yeah, as of now, we are not seeing any change, and people are still coming out. And the only negative factor that can affect our footfalls right now is weather and unseasonal rain and cyclones and those kind of things. For the last 2 weeks, things have been pretty clear, and we hope that can continue. Yes.
We all hope that continues. Thank you so much, Arun, for joining in, giving us all those details on the way the year will end. But importantly, the fact that no one's really worried about what is happening right now. That includes him as well, because our make is different from what's taking place in China. And like he said, the WHO, as of now, let's caveat that. But also be hopeful that it won't exacerbate to the extent that everyone is fearing. Wish Arun, you and your team a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well.
Same to you as well. Merry Christmas.
Okay, with that, we'll slip into a short break. Come back on the other side. Prakash Gaba will join in with some trading strategies, and it'll be interesting to watch whether he's buying something or looking to short.
आग को फैलने से रोकना मुश्किल है, पर नामुमकिन नहीं। अब फायरवॉल टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम आग से बचाए।
Radiant Cash Management Services Limited. Initial public offering of equity shares of face value of 1 rupee each through the book building process with a price band of 94 rupees to 99 rupees per equity share. Bid offer opens on Friday, December 23, 2022 and closes on Tuesday, December 27, 2022. For risk factors and more details, please refer to the RHP available on the websites of SEBI, the book running lead managers and the stock exchanges.
Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
Now QCI has launched a marquee campaign called Gunvatta Se Atmanirbharta. So what is the role that DARPG is going to play in this campaign?
We've had a long association with QCI that dates back to 1990. And QCI's team of young professionals have worked tirelessly to make these special campaigns, to make these innovative practices possible over several decades.
Magnificent picture, magnificent sound, magnificent experience, Magnifique. High performance TVs by iWide Japan, now in India.
Welcome back. The Nifty is firmly below, the 18,000 mark as we speak, closing in on that 17,900 mark as well. In fact, for a brief period, it was sub that 17,900 mark too. We have seen a wee bit of recovery from the lows of trade, and that perhaps may be on account of a couple of factors. The fact that we are down below that 18,000 mark has given a lot of these 18,000 call writers a lot of support. The next week is the December series expiry, so to that extent, we are seeing a fair amount of build-up in the 18,000 call. that has almost 76 lakh shares added in open interest for a premium of 120 odd rupees. So on the way up, 18,100 thereabouts could face some sort of resistance, and that also ties in with the 50-day moving average that the Nifty broke yesterday. On the way down, however, bulls believe that maybe 17,800 thereabouts could see some support, which is why the 18,000 put as well is seeing some sort of writing. So 150 rupees for the 18,000 put, telling you that 17,850 is an important support. For those who are selling both 18,000 call and put, they are playing for a much wider range of 17,750 to 18,250. But what's interesting is that the Nifty Bank is below its 50-day moving average. It was below the 20-day moving average a couple of days ago, and now it's broken below that 50-day moving average as well. And for the Nifty, which broke below that 20 and the 50-day moving average, is now eyeing that 100-day moving average, which is that 17,830 odd mark. So are we going there, or any of these levels see some support, is something that we'll have to ask Prakash Gaba, who now joins in with some trading strategies. Prakash, your thoughts? Are we looking to test the 100-day moving average on the Nifty, and any support in sight?
Well, good afternoon to you. Well, so far looking that 18,000 could hold, and 42,000 I would say on Bank Nifty could hold, but it has breached below that. So it's struggling now. To my mind, structure, when I look at it, Nifty and Bank Nifty both are weak. There is no any strength. Only perhaps in the last 2 hours or so, we could see some short covering, because next week we have holidays, and being a Friday, people who are short may cover shorts and may not take it. So that is why I expect some kind of short covering. But so far it looks like maybe in the lower regions we are seeing short covering, but I'm not seeing buying. So in the absence of buying, market cannot go up. It can go up only limited due to short covering.
How would you approach a couple of these PSU banks, Prakash?
Well, State Bank of India is looking weak. It's broken down, and I would say that more of an exhaustion around 620 zones. They will come down to 580 possibly. We'll see lower levels to 550. And Bank of India and Bank of Baroda got exhausted in the upper region. So it's what we are seeing, there is some kind of a selling out in PSU banks.
All right, Prakash. Thanks a lot for joining in. Wish you a very Merry Christmas as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
With that, we'll step into a short break. On the other side, we'll get you an exclusive conversation with the top management of Domino's, that is the global company, and Jubilant Foodworks as well from our Weekender series. Stay tuned for this one. It's the first time Sameer Khetarpal speaking to the media.
Reimagineering brighter futures with smarter steels. ArcelorMittal, Nippon Steel India. Smarter steels, brighter futures.
Mr. B, एक नहीं दो नहीं तीन नहीं काम कर सकूं चार भी. So show me what you can do, bro. नाम है मेरा Mr. Can Be Done. क्या तुमने पूछा what I can do? एक क्या 10 क्या 100 क्या bro? I can do a whole lot more. Bank account से लेकर business loan, FDRD, edu loan, UPI तक. Mobile meter shopping faster get line, bro. You are in luck. कैसे bro? How? This is Canara Bank AI1.
आपके सपने हमारे अपने.
पुत्रवीर कमाल दिखा अपना. कभी टेबल बन जाता है तो कभी अलमारी.
वीर MDF आम प्लाईवुड से ज्यादा मजबूत, ज्यादा किफायती. दिखे चकाचक, टिके टकाटक.
Life will test you. It will turn your world upside down. Again and again and again. The only way to hit back is to stand up. Stand up every time and say, I'm not done.
Got trapped? Do not let commissions and incentives lure you into investing in random schemes. Don't believe in false promises. Be careful. After all, it's your own money.
समझकर इन्वेस्ट कर।
Welcome back. Well, as a part of our Weekender series, Mangalam, our my co-anchor, visited the top management of Domino's and Jubilant Foodworks to learn more about the Domino's story in India and also tried to test out the Domino's new 20-minute delivery feature. Listen in.
Domino's started here in 1996, and we've worked closely all of those years, not only on product, on digital and all the things, supply chain, everything that you see here today. So this is not even my first time here in India, because it's a place we come to exchange.
Take that point. You've been around for about a little over 2 months now, going on 3. What have your thoughts been about this business so far? What are the areas where you believe that you can go and take the company?
So I think I'm still learning. I'm yet to visit all the stores, all the factories that we have, and I do hope to visit sooner than later. My early thoughts are 4. Number 1, customer first. There's such a tremendous opportunity in India, right from serving a 79 rupee pizza to launching a gourmet. There are many Indias, so number 1. Number 2 is technology forward. I think today Domino's is number 3 most used food app in India. Number 3 is operations excellence. And you will see us wearing these jackets, right? And how do we continuously make sure that we are doing faster delivery without compromising on safety, making better pizzas every time, and making sure we're delighting the customer. And last but not the least, building the culture of the organization. That is truly, truly very important. And that's where I exchange a lot of notes from Domino's too.
I see your jackets. It's not a particularly subtle plug. Domino's 20 minutes delivery. I'm told that most of your deliveries do happen sub 20 minutes already. So this is just inside out, classic Russell Wiener marketing. Is that so?
It's not. We're definitely learning, taking one from here. I mean, when you think about Domino's being the #1 pizza company in the world, a fact to get your head around is we deliver as a system globally 3 million pizzas every day. 3 million pizzas every day. And what we were talking about a lot is really the focus, even though we deliver so many pizzas, is on one pizza at a time. So instead of thinking about delivering 3 million pizzas every day, we think about delivering one pizza 3 million times. And the focus on that is what is getting these guys to really bring something forward pretty bold. We're known as a 30-minute delivery company, and they're committing to 20 minutes.
Does it work now? If I just use my phone and try to order a pizza, will it come before the end of this interview?
Yes, we have 2 stores which are about 2 kilometers away. If you order now, I bet you will get in 20 minutes.
Challenge accepted. Okay.
Don't forget to tip.
Okay, and you can catch the full conversation tonight at 7 p.m. only on CNBC-TV18. So Mangalam, the pizza did come, right?
The pizza did come and it came in 19 minutes.
But was it tasty? You said it was a vegetarian pizza. It came in time. Who ate it at the end of it?
Of course, everyone ate it, the crew and they themselves. What was interesting is that they actually, the pizza came and it was hot, etc. They said that the algorithm that they have, they say that if you reach a certain place in the app itself, the pizza starts making automatically because they know the data that you have, the pizzas that you've ordered, etc. So it's not about rider safety as much. They say that if the rider has left late and he has to hurry, or he or she has to hurry to get to the destination, then they're late already. The idea is it should leave in time, and they've accounted for the distance, etc.
Have they accounted for Mumbai traffic?
It's currently in 14 zones, about 100 stores, etc. So I'm sure a few Mumbai places are also included in that. Okay. And the riders are usually, navigating through traffic in their two-wheelers anyway.
Okay, anyway, it's a great feat. 3 million pizzas delivered globally, I think. That's what he said, globally. That's what the Domino's head said, every day on time. So that's basically the key takeaway. And a lot more takeaways, which you can hear 7 p.m. this evening. Time for a break now. On the other side, Manisha Gupta will be joining in.
Radiant Cash Management Services Limited. Initial public offering of equity shares of face value of 1 rupee each through the book building process with a price band of 94 rupees to 99 rupees per equity share. Bid offer opens on Friday, December 23, 2022 and closes on Tuesday, December 27, 2022. For risk factors and more details, please refer to the RHP available on the websites of SEBI, the book running lead managers and the stock exchanges.
आज तबीयत ठीक नहीं लग रही, तुम ही सब काम निपटा दो ना। अरे टेंशन किस बात की? सेंचुरी MDF का लो एमिशन प्रीमियम प्लस है ना, हायर डेंसिटी है, वाटर रेजिस्टेंट भी है, यानी ये है जहाँ नो टेंशन वहाँ।
Low Emission Premium Plus by Century ProWood.
You need to remember that when you sign a document, the law presumes that you've read it, understood it, and agree to it. Smart investors always read the fine print before signing any document. They spend time studying its relevance, consider all scenarios and their implications. Follow due diligence before signing any documents, agreements, or contracts with terms and conditions that give brokers or financial advisors the right to act on your behalf. This will only ensure your protection from financial loss and unnecessary hassles in the future.
NSE द्वारा निवेशकों के हित में जारी। Why did life test me? Why did it try to crush me, shake me, break me? Why me? Because it knew if I could take this test, I could take anything and say, that was easy.
वाह, अब आ रहे हो इंस्पेक्शन के लिए? 3 घंटे पहले बोला था कि मैम बस 2 मिनट में पहुंच रहा हूँ। इस कार इंश्योरेंस के चक्कर में पूरा दिन वेस्ट। चलो अभी प्लीज चेक करो।
मैडम मैं प्लम्बर हूँ।
प्लम्बर आया क्या? आने दे।
सर कहाँ हो?
मैडम बस 2 मिनट।
कार इंश्योरेंस चाहिए विदाउट वेटिंग फॉर इंस्पेक्शन? अपलोड फोटो, रिन्यू इंस्टेंटली ऑन फोन पे। टेंशन फ्री इंश्योरेंस।
Welcome back. Joining us now is Kunal Shah. He's head commodities and currencies at Nirmal Bang. Joins us live on the show. Kunal, hi. And I only want to talk about metals today because we are looking at very choppy moves onto this one. You know, the first half saw record highs. The second half has seen immense profit taking coming in. Something like an aluminum, which hit an all-time high at $4,000 per ton, is just about holding 2,400 right now. I'll start with that metal, with the kind of curbs that we've seen in production in Europe and in China as well. How are you looking at the fundamentals and price view going forward?
Okay, so a fundamental consists of two parts. One is macro and another is micro. The macro part doesn't look very lucrative. That we've seen that the reopened trade of China has basically led to the upside in metals, maybe any metal. So whatever upside we have seen right now is with the expectation that there's going to be a reopening of Chinese economy and the demand of the metals is going to shoot up. That is the micro part. But the macro part here is the globally, with the rising interest rate and the tightening of the monetary policy and with the QT, I think the upside is very limited in all metals, irrespective of China opens up or not. The fact remains is that the tighter monetary policy is definitely going to weigh on metals. We are seeing this upside partly also because of the dollar index is corrected from 114 to 103, 104. But from these levels, I'm not expecting dollar index to crash. Looking at the way the US data, so right now we are in that irrational exuberance where with every positive data coming from US, Europe, markets are going to react negatively. And with every negative data coming out of there, we are going to see metals going positively. So at this point, I'm expecting, the upside is going to be capped from the micro perspective. And even though China is opening up, I don't see any major uptick in the metals prices from here. We have already seen that that has been discounted. And once China opens up, the production side also will get stronger going forward. So I'm not expecting major upside. The fundamental continues to remain grim. And I'm expecting with the housing market across the world expected to cool off in next 3 to 4 months, we are going to see the metal demand is going to gradually go down. So irrespective of the spike, what we are seeing right now, the fundamentals are not looking great. And we are going to see metal prices gradually, aluminum too, will gradually go down, copper too will gradually go down. all the metals are going to go down in next 1 or 2 months.
Kunal, I was reading a lot of global banks and brokerages report. I mean, I agree with you. Not everybody is bullish in all of these metals. Clearly not steel, not nickel, not even aluminum for that matter. But there are quite bullish statements coming in for iron ore and copper. Even now, for copper essentially, I mean, we're not too far away from all-time highs here, not too close either, 10,800, and we've seen 7,000, and now we're holding around 82, 8,500 thereabouts. What's your sense here? What kind of ranges are you working with?
Okay, so like you say, you know, it's all about the China's reopening of the economy. Remember the fact that even though China opens up, the construction activity cannot reach to a level what we used to see in 2020, 2021 or 2022 for that matter, the first half. The reality is that the property sector, which accounts for the 25% of the Chinese GDP, is continuously under the pressure. No matter how much China comes up with the stimulus, this sector is not going to revive significantly. I think the range is what I'm expecting. LME copper should not go above, you know, $9,000. When you talk about even iron ore, steel, right now, because of opening up, they are moving up. But I think gradually, after January, you are going to see some more, you know, weakness coming into these markets also. So I'm not expecting any major upside in steel, iron ore, any of these commodities. It's a complete contra view in line with the consensus view. But that is what the fundamental and the macro outlook of the global economy stands at right now. The moment Western central banks give an indication that they are going to change or halt their tighter monetary policy, at that time, dollar will collapse and all these metals will rally. I think we are still 1 or 2 months or perhaps 3 months away from that situation, because the labor market in US, in Europe remains quite tight, and the labor-related, wage-related inflation is not going to go away in next 2-3 months. Okay. And hence, I'm of the view that the downside in the dollar is limited, and we are going to see some pain in next 2-3 months, and perhaps that will be followed by a gain. So perhaps after the second quarter of 2023, we will see a rally. We will have to bear some pain for next 2-3 months.
Okay.
Okay, all right, Kunal as well as Manisha, thanks very much for joining in, and wish you all a very happy Merry Christmas as well as a Happy New Year holiday season, Kunal. Well, for the markets, you know, it's turning out to be a tough session as of now, so there's no real reprieve, no real buying on dips which has taken place. The mid-cap index still down over 800 points as we speak. We have the Bank Nifty, which is down close to 600 points as well, down around 1.4%. Now, in terms of the top Nifty losers, it is the Adani stocks, Adani Ports, as well as Adani Enterprises, separately Hindalco as well as Tata Motors. So it is sectorally agnostic in terms of the losses that we are seeing. On the upside, there are a couple of these defensive plays which are managing to hold their head above the water. Divi's Labs, Kotak has managed to actually build up a little bit in terms of gains just in the past couple of minutes at the high point of the day for Kotak, up around 0.3%. Well, as we wrap up on the show, we leave you with some global opinion coming in from Jahangir Aziz of JP Morgan on how the revision in Q3 GDP weighed down on the US markets and how China's growth picture looks going forward.
What drove the market down today, it was the revision in the third quarter GDP in the US and the fact that the first-time claims were not as high as people had thought. And I think that goes to show you that, the market had probably brought into the idea that the Fed was probably, close to being done. But clearly, this is moves towards what the Fed has been telling us in FOMC meeting after FOMC, that they are not close to done, even though they have downshifted. Along with what the uncertainty around Fed, even though the Fed has been very clear about where they want to take the terminal rate to. So we have a view that, the first half of next year, China is probably going to struggle to generate any positive growth. And in the second half of the year, once they're able to acquire some form of natural immunity of about 35-40% of the population, and that's a very tall task. Once that happens, you are going to see China reopen and China growth actually pick up very strongly. And I think that's the time when you are going to see materials prices, industrial metals prices actually move up.